Nick, if I had to start with you, what are some of the different things that you're doing that maybe started off as a trial and now is just standard protocol for the firm, given some different AI use cases?
So as I started with replying the emails, I think is really powerful just because the amount of times, I mean, me and my team are responding to emails, it takes up a lot of our firm's time. And especially when a client has a laundry list of questions. So I think all of us have a client who, barely asked a question, and we all have a client who asks 100 questions, explain this line to me, explain that to me. I was thinking about becoming an S Corp, and they go on with a list, 10 bullet pointed questions. So that's when I started from that intro email to just make it sound nicer to start really seeing it could save me massive amounts of time. So I have a client with a 12 bullet point list of questions about their taxes or whatever situation they have going on. And I would take that and put that into a ChatGPT thread. And always, I'm sure if you haven't heard of like prompting is essentially telling ChatGPT what you want it to do. So I would say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to make sure you're helping me draft this email for my tax and bookkeeping firm to help my clients and save me time. So once I preface that, then I could put that email right in, and it does an unbelievable job spitting out like as long or concise email as you want. You could say, give me a bullet point answer or elaborate. Some of our clients want the nitty gritty of why they should be an S Corp or not be an S Corp. And I think that's where it can be really powerful. And for people out there who aren't using it at an advanced level, the best thing to do is just start with the basics. Just put the email and see what it spits out. Like Randy said, don't put the client's personal information, but a lot of the questions we get are questions we get all the time. So like an example is clients are always asking, especially with like the gig economy workers, everyone's asking home office deduction. And we all know how to answer that question. But every time I was typing up that email, or I would save a pre-templated email, I'd have to go find it and copy and paste it. I don't have to do that anymore. I just drop that email in, explain to this client, do they qualify for home office? And then I'll go through the fact pattern and give them a really clear email. But also another disclaimer, always read the emails, because some people are like, oh, well, I don't trust AI yet, which I felt the exact same way. I still, to this day, I've been using it for years. I'm always reading through the full email, making sure that everything's accurate before I click send, obviously. But all that 12 bullet point question, that's where you're saving a ton of time, because it does a fairly good job clearly and accurately answering all the questions. And the clients are always responding back to me like, oh my God, thank you for such a thorough email. So that's just a tip from me.
Yeah, I think you hit on kind of two huge pieces there. One, if I looked at the ethos for your answer, it's really scaling your personalized touch to a larger audience, which I talk to many firm owners and they say, oh, I'm just buried in emails for this time. And like anytime you see that manual work and think, I can do that, like I might be able to get past automating some amount of that, kind of key. Now, for the rest of the audience here, I just wanted to break down on one other topic. So he mentioned prompting. So prompting is everything with AI. And much like swimming, you're not going to become a better swimmer by running. Prompting, you're going to get better at prompting through practice. And that's really just giving better guidance to the AI as you're going through it. It's going to learn from you. You're going to learn a little bit about it as well. And you even touched on my other favorite piece. I say that working with AI is a mix of prompting and being a goalie. You just got to be ready that whatever's coming back at you, it's going to vary. Sometimes half of it's going to be great. Sometimes 95% of it's going to be great. Sometimes it's all perfect and you're ready to send it off. But you have to be going through with a fine tooth comb and just making sure to catch those one or two things that maybe aren't in your voice or maybe aren't even accurate. So, Randy, if I was to ask the same thing of you, what are some of those things in your firm that you think could be helpful to some of the audience today to research a little further?
Two ways that we've used it, we've been using it a lot in our firm and across a variety of spectrums, but two ways that I'd like to highlight is how we do our copy. So for our marketing purposes and the messaging that we do through our firm, because in our firms, we do quite a bit of marketing and messaging, because we also come from an educational standpoint where we're trying to get information out not only to business owners, but also to other accountants. And so our AI has been able to learn how we approach business. So the values that we have as a core business, it has that information, but then it also has the ability to go out and identify who our ideal client is based on information that we provided. We say, hey, we're looking for this criteria and this criteria and this criteria. It can identify who the ideal client is. And then it has the ability to then go out and identify individuals or post public forums, of course, where individuals where that ideal client is making certain comments or voicing certain struggles, challenges that they're having. And it's able to bring that information in, and then it helps us with our messaging. So now when we have a presentation, when we do a soundbite, when we're sending out an email, when we're doing a post, we're able to speak in the language of our ideal audience because AI has learned that ideal client, knows what their struggles are because it has gone out there and it has pulled it in, and it has helped us to really, really refine our copy in that way. But another way that might resonate even more with some of the accountants and business owners on the call today is using AI to capture meeting notes. So many of us are familiar with meeting notes. If you're using, if you're talking to individuals on video, which is what we do in our firm, we do a lot of video meetings, video conferencing. And so we use Fathom. Fathom is a note taker. I know some individuals use Zoom note taker as well, but Fathom is the one that we use, and that's not to be confused with Fathom HQ, which is actually a KPI accounting software. But Fathom note taker, where it comes in, it's almost like another participant sitting in the meeting, and it listens to the conversation. So the person that you have coming in, whether it's a client or a potential client, they have to give their permission. They know that it's there. They're not caught off guard. Now we're having a conversation, but it's capturing everything that's being talked about. But then because it's an AI-based program, it can identify when the individual got excited, what they were talking about, the struggles that they mentioned. And all of these things we then use to build proposals if it's a potential client. We send a copy of the meeting notes to clients after the meeting. We're able to go back and take a look at the language that they use, and we're able to use that language back with them. So it helps us to feel like and to present like being very engaged, which we are engaged, but it helps us to be better engaged because now we're able to use language that they're using, and it's just been an absolute game changer. And for that matter, the people that we're meeting with, they like having a copy of the meeting notes as well, so that they don't have to try to take notes during the meeting as well. So those are two ways we've been using it.